A billiard ball explodes mid-game, and every armed cowboy in the saloon draws their gun thinking someone just fired a shot. Sounds like Wild West legend, right? But here's the terrifying truth. The world's first commercial plastic celluloid billiard balls actually did make explosive cracking sounds that caused panic in gambling halls across America. Even wilder, they were invented by a self-taught printer with zero chemistry training, who worked with literal explosives to save elephants from extinction. The origin story of plastic is way more dangerous than you think. So it's 1863, and America has what I like to call a serious billiard problem. The game is insanely popular, but here's the catch. Each quality billiard ball set required ivory from elephant tusks. We're talking 1 or more elephants per set, depending on tusk quality, since only certain parts were even suitable. As you can imagine, elephant populations are plummeting, ivory prices are going crazy, and the whole billiard industry is facing extinction. Not great. In total desperation, around 1863, billiard manufacturer Phelan and Collender announces this absolutely staggering $10,000 prize. That's roughly $230,000 today, by the way. The challenge? Create artificial ivory. And who answers this call? John Wesley Hyatt, a 26-year-old printer from Albany, New York, with exactly zero chemistry training and, I cannot stress this enough, an alarming willingness to work with literal explosives in his workshop. What could possibly go wrong? Here's the thing about Hyatt. He wasn't a chemist, he wasn't a scientist. He was literally just a guy who saw an opportunity and thought, how hard could it be? Spoiler alert, nearly impossibly hard, and potentially deadly. His material of choice? Nitrocellulose, which is chemically almost identical to gun cotton, the highly explosive compound used in ammunition. So to create a safer alternative to ivory, this man decided to work with something that could literally blow up in his face. The irony is not lost on me. Night after night in his workshop, Hyatt's mixing nitrocellulose with various chemicals, applying heat and pressure to volatile compounds that professional chemists wouldn't touch without serious safety protocols. And Hyatt? He's doing this as a side project while running a printing business. The failures were constant and, honestly, spectacular. Mixtures would harden too much or not enough. Some batches would crack, others stayed dangerously unstable. This guy was burning through materials, time, and probably the patience of everyone living near his workshop. If this level of reckless determination surprises you, definitely hit subscribe. Every invention origin gets weirder from here. Then came the discovery that changed everything. According to one popular account, Hyatt accidentally spilled collodion, that's liquid nitrocellulose used in photography and printing, and left it overnight. He supposedly discovered it had hardened, but stayed flexible. It's a neat origin story, but in reality, his breakthrough involved way more systematic experimentation with camphor as a plasticizer for nitrocellulose. Less romantic, but more accurate. He started experimenting with camphor, which was just a common household substance with that distinctive smell. When he combined camphor with nitrocellulose under moderate heat and pressure, something genuinely magical happened. The camphor acted as a solvent, creating this material that could be molded when heated and would hold its shape when cooled. It was like he'd discovered alchemy, except, with way more explosion risk and significantly less gold. Around 1869 to 1870, after years of dangerous experimentation, Hyatt successfully perfected celluloid. Now, plot twist, he wasn't technically first. Alexander Parkes had created something similar called Parksine back in 1856. But here's the thing, and this is crucial. Parkes' version was basically useless commercially. Hyatt made it actually work. He made it practical and profitable. He rushed to patent it, probably dreaming about that sweet $10,000 prize money. There was just one tiny problem. His invention occasionally exploded. The celluloid billiard balls looked absolutely perfect. They mimicked ivory beautifully, rolled smoothly, and cost a fraction of the price. Hyatt started manufacturing them, totally convinced he'd revolutionized the game. And then, the reports started coming in. In billiard halls across America, balls would sometimes create this loud bang when they collided. The explosive impact usually wasn't dangerous, but the sound? Absolutely terrifying. One saloon owner in Colorado reportedly wrote to Hyatt with what might be my favorite complaint letter ever. He explained that every single time the balls made that explosive crack, every customer instantly drew their gun, convinced a gunfight had erupted. And then he supposedly wrote, "I don't care if the whole room ends up in a brawl, just don't make the balls explode anymore." I mean, fair point. Hyatt tried fixing the instability, adjusting his formula, perfecting his curing process, controlling temperatures more precisely. But celluloid remained inherently dangerous. Wild that this actually became a commercial product, right? Drop a comment if you'd have risked buying exploding billiard balls to save a few bucks. Its nitrocellulose base made it extraordinarily flammable, so much so that his factories experienced frequent fires and workers operated under constant risk. The manufacturing process itself was darkly ironic. Hyatt patented compression molding methods around 1881 that used cylindrical chambers resembling gun barrels. Workers would place nitrocellulose in a rubber bag inside a liquid-filled cylinder, then apply heat and pressure. They were essentially creating a controlled bomb that hopefully produced plastic instead of detonating. Just a casual Tuesday at work? Here's the absolutely weird part. Despite creating a commercially viable ivory substitute that would literally reshape manufacturing forever, Hyatt never received the $10,000 prize money. Why? That remains unclear. The competition's resolution is super murky. Maybe it was timing, maybe the celluloid ball's dangerous tendencies, maybe business changes at Phelan and Colander. But whatever the reason, imagine this. You spend 6 years working with explosives. You perfect the first commercially successful synthetic plastic in human history. You solve the ivory crisis, and you still don't get paid. The injustice. But celluloid found plenty of other uses. It could be dyed any color, molded into any shape, and made to imitate expensive materials like tortoiseshell and coral. Manufacturers started using it for combs, jewelry, dental plates, and crucially, photographic film. Those early movies you've seen, shot on celluloid film? Classic Hollywood films from the early 20th century? Also celluloid. The problem? Movie theaters and film archives basically became death traps. Not ideal for date night. Celluloid film was horrifyingly flammable, igniting from projection heat, friction, or improper storage at temperatures around 320 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Projection booths became fire hazards. Entire theaters burned down. Countless historic films were lost forever when storage facilities erupted in flames. The material that was supposed to save elephants had created a whole new crisis. It was literally trying to burn down civilization. Eventually, Leo Baekeland created Bakelite in 1907, the first fully synthetic thermosetting plastic made entirely from synthetic components. Unlike celluloid, which still came from plant material, Bakelite was far more stable. It marked the beginning of the safer plastics era. But celluloid had already proven the concept. Humans could create synthetic materials that mimicked nature and could be manufactured at scale. That genie was officially out of the bottle, and there was no putting it back. The plastics age had begun, whether we were ready for it or not. Think about the plastic object closest to you right now. Your phone case, your water bottle, your keyboard. They're all descendants of Hyatt's explosive billiard balls. That self-taught printer, working with volatile chemicals in 1860s Albany, accidentally launched the commercial plastics age. The irony is almost poetic. Hyatt wanted to save elephants from the ivory trade. He succeeded. Ivory billiard balls became obsolete. Mission accomplished, right? But in doing so, he perfected the material that now fills our oceans, clogs our landfills, and presents one of our greatest environmental challenges. The first commercially successful plastic was dangerous, explosive, and occasionally terrifying. Today's plastics are stable, versatile, and absolutely everywhere, for better and definitely for worse. It's the ultimate example of be careful what you wish for. We saved the elephants, but created a whole new set of problems. The universe has a twisted sense of humor sometimes. Here's what keeps me up at night. John Wesley Hyatt risked his life working with explosives in a printer's workshop to save elephants from extinction. He succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. Ivory billiard balls disappeared completely. But his elephant-saving invention created the plastic crisis we're drowning in today. So was he a hero, or did he accidentally doom us all? Could anyone in 1863 have predicted their solution would become our disaster? Drop your honest take in the comments. Would you make Hyatt's choice knowing what we know now? And if this story made you rethink literally every plastic object around you, hit that subscribe button, because I'm obsessed with finding these messy, dangerous, totally absurd origin stories behind everyday objects. Trust me, they're all this wild. Science isn't always as dramatic as we want it to be.